Hey, y'all. Hey, it is Tuesday. And it sounds like the landscapers decided to come today, but that's fine. We're going to get this show on the road. Let me scoop my little short self up. How y'all doing? How y'all doing this Tuesday? How are you guys doing? I'm doing well. A little allergies, feeling a little allergies. Thank you. We'll go down the list. I'll get to your comments and everything. But yeah, feeling allergies. How are you guys? If you have allergies, um, let me know how you're feeling. I feel like they're really bad this year. I felt like they were really bad last year, but um, with everyone, not quarantining anymore, whatever. I think we all came out of quarantine and allergies have been off the chain. So I'm trying to avoid taking a Benadryl because I'll be sitting on live like this. But actually, they don't really make me that sleepy, which is weird because my mom's like, I don't know how they don't make you sleepy, but they make me sleepy. So, I mean, they don't make me sleepy. But I'm going to try not to take a Benadryl. Hopefully nobody sprays anything. I don't have environmental allergies unless it's trees, flowers, and stuff like that. But definitely, I have developed as I got older because I did not have allergies growing up, but I developed like atmosphere allergies. So if someone sprays a certain type of perfume or a room spray or a lotion or something like that, I'm definitely gonna get to itching, coughing, or whatever. So I do smell some room spray, but hopefully I should be okay. I should be fine. I'm being dramatic. Actually, I'm not, but anyway, so it's Tuesday. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon in Arizona. Let me see, it's 105. So it has been mild lately, but it looks like it's trying to show us a little something because it was like 100 degrees last week, a couple of days of the week, but today right now it's 106. And was that the high today? That was probably the high since I looked at it all day was the 106. So it's not so bad, but it is warm. Um, but I'm well. I'm doing well. The kids are doing well. Everybody's good. So I'm here, ready to get started. Ready to check in and see what you guys are doing. So let's get these hays and hellos in as people are coming in, joining in the room. What's up, Twitch? What's up, Facebook? What's up, YouTube? Thank y'all. Thank y'all for your support, your love, your interaction, and your sisterhood. I say it all the time. I don't like to call it, definitely not fans, but not subscribe. I mean, you must be subscribers, but you mean more to me than that. So anyway, just me, Maud Extraordinaire. She came in. Good evening. Good evening. Hey, girl. Royalty. Good to see you again. Today looks like it's going to be a really good conversation. I kind of want to talk about, before we get to the marriage, the marriage conversation that you guys want to talk about. I kind of want to talk about men. I want to talk about women, and then I want to talk about marriage, singlehood, all of that. I kind of want to knock it all out. And I think it's just a good conversation to have because there's a lot of conversation going on around this modern woman and all of that. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And I want to hear, especially from you single women, because I think that you guys are, I can't say that. I think all women are getting the brunt of this modern woman thing versus not versus whatever, because everybody has their own version. But we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. So, Valerie, good to see you, Valerie Joseph. How's everyone doing? Looks like everybody's doing fine. Looks like everybody's doing great. Royalty Queen says somebody is monetized. Congrats. So yeah, thank you. I've been monetized for at least 2 months. I want to say 2-3 months. So yes, thank you. It's raining in Apalachicola, Florida. I'm home watching you. How's the family? The family is doing great. So you all know that the boy was direct contact with one of his friends. He said his friend is doing fine, so he's recovering. My son had a negative test. Everyone's doing well. Allergies are really kicking our butts, though. My husband's, he was like, man, I want to go take a nap or whatever. We got a kiddie football game to go to, so I don't know if we're gonna be able to be out in the atmosphere like that because we both are just like going through it with the allergies. But other than that, the family's doing good. I cannot complain. God is good. Irma, hey Irma, it's so good to see you. She says I'm on vacation to see my mom for her 90th birthday. So you did take the trip. Thank you. Okay, good. I'm glad that you took the trip, Irma. August 8th in Paducah, I used to live there, Paducah, Kentucky, and in Nashville, Tennessee, vacation my cousin. I will be back in Austin, Texas soon. Paducah, we obviously lived very close to there when we were at Fort Campbell. Spent a lot of time in Paducah, a lot of time in Nashville. Nashville was one of our weekend spots where if we just felt like we wanted to go somewhere, we'd head over to Nashville, grab something to eat, or whatever. So yeah, that's what we would do. Um, Go to Paducah and stuff like that. Your worst nightmare has a question. Since women have the option to opt out of parenthood and the man has no power in that say, should men have the same option where they can opt out and not pay for childcare for 18 years for a child they did not want? Your worst nightmare. Okay. That's not what the show is going to be about, but if I come around the corner, and he or she says, please answer. We'll get to that because maybe that will be a part of our conversation, but I will definitely make a note. But right now I'm doing my hellos, my heys, getting to know, hopefully everybody's doing okay, that type of thing. So, but yes, your worst nightmare, we can definitely discuss that. So I'm single looking for love. Okay, Valerie. Well, you know what? Let's start talking about this modern woman thing. That's what we're going to talk about today. I want to talk about this modern man or this manhood thing. And then I want to talk about being single. Then the next week. So we're going to go all the way into next week having this conversation because I see a lot of conversation. I see a lot of buzz. And I want to know, let's get it out because I really do want to know why all of a sudden, because I feel like it's all of a sudden there's this conversation about the modern woman. So we'll see. Lakeisha, hey girl, hey, good to see you. Thank you for joining as usual, sister. Hope you're okay. Hope you're feeling good. Irma, tell mom happy birthday. That was from Valerie. Make sure you tell her from all of us. Irma, I'm glad that you took that trip. I think if I remember correctly, you were trying to decide if you were going to take it or not, or it was someone else that was saying they haven't flown, never flown, but they have a trip or whatever. It was a lot of videos ago when we were talking about getting together for holidays and traveling and stuff like that. So it looks like you guys are doing well. It looks like, so just me, did baby girl come back? How was that? So yeah, looks like everyone's doing good. Irma says, thank you. I drove by myself. Oh, wow. Okay, Irma. Okay, you drove. So from Texas, that's a cute drive. That's a cute drive. We've driven it because when we lived at Fort Campbell, we had family in Texas. So we've done that drive. And Texas is just a bunch of dirt roads on both sides and just go, 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 go. So it's not so bad. So safe travels there. Enjoy your mom. I hope she's enjoying you. I know she is. And safe travels back. So if you're just tuning in, y'all, I'm Melissa Berrien. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is what we do. I sometimes come on and we have a topic and people have a topic, but today I actually came on with an actual topic that we are going to explore. So if you are in the wings, you're hiding out in the bushes, you over in the shoe section, come on out and join the conversation. We want to hear from you. If you see me talking to people and you're like, oh my goodness, she must know them. Yes, we're getting to know each other through our relationship, through the lives and everything else. We get to know each other, our children, what we're doing and everything else. So with that being said, let me hit y'all with this cute little thing that I created. With that being said, and then we'll get started. If you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Right now, do it. Right now, do it. Okay, so yeah, follow the instructions, hit the subscribe button right now, and definitely hit the notification bell. Do it. So, I love the beautiful colors, green trees. Yes, Irma, green trees there. It's beautiful. It's beautiful there. You never know if you're going to miss some place until you leave. And so when we were living at Fort Campbell, I was like, oh, we were ready to leave until we went to Fort Drum. And then we were like, okay, I would rather be at Fort Campbell. But anyway, y'all, let's have this conversation today. and you guys already know what we do. Y'all chime in. Let me know what you think this conversation is about the modern woman. Leave a comment down below. Comment below. Modern woman. What, when you hear someone say that, or you've heard other people, I've mainly heard men. The two men talk about this modern woman. I really haven't seen any YouTubers that were females talking about what they thought the modern woman was, what was problematic about the modern woman. I know I have my idea of what a modern woman is. But you guys leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think a modern woman is. We'll talk about whether she's problematic or not, or whatever. What do you think that is? What do you think it looks like? You look so beautiful. Thank you, Irma. Thank you. I tried, child. Unlike some people. A funny story. I'll tell you about that story later. It's nothing. I basically I went to my son's job, and his coworkers, little girls, they thought I was his sister, and he's almost he's almost 30, and they could not believe it. They was like, "No way, that's your mom." And I was like, "Yep, I am." I tried to play it off like I didn't know him, but they were like, "No." So the modern woman, what is that? I know some of you guys listen to Kevin Samuels. I know some of you know the lead attorney. I've told you about that. But then, when I was coming across this subject, there's so many videos about the modern woman, so many videos. And then a lot of videos about the modern woman and how problematic she is. So let's discuss it. Let's discuss it. So my idea, I think that every stage, every generation, women have changed. We've come a long way. So some of you are old enough to remember when women couldn't wear certain things, couldn't do things. I mean, all the way down from their own personal rights with their bodies, voting, everything, just depending on how old you are. But we also know, just in history, there was a time where a woman wasn't even considered a citizen. They weren't even considered to have a voice or anything. So during this time, women were either considered almost as low as a slave, but also definitely property, very much property of the men that they were married to, or even their parents or whatever. There's even a time in society that's where women, if you didn't have a husband, you were considered nothing. And they relied on, so this is even in biblical times, if you didn't have a husband to take care of you, because women were seen to be in the home, you had to depend on charity and stuff like that to make it for you and your family. So being married was always something that people felt like women should always strive to, even to the point where there was a time for young ladies to be married at a very young age. That whole thing, that was not uncommon at all. So when you talk about the progression from back then to, women, the majority of women being stay-at-home moms, that whole thing, all the way to nowadays, where women are pretty much very independent, doing what they want, or just having the opportunity. How independent you are or aren't, that's pretty much on you and your life choices, how you were raised, what you were brought up in, and stuff like that. But the opportunities are way more available for modern women, more so than it was for women way back in the day. So that's what we're talking about today. This modern woman, this idea of a modern woman. I hear a lot of stuff about what the modern woman is, and what she isn't. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's see if I have any comments yet. And if you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave a comment down below. If you have an idea of what the modern woman is, if you have an idea of what they represent and all of that. Hey, Sunshine, we are just getting started with our topic, talking about this idea of a modern woman. I'm waiting on comments. But while I'm waiting on comments, I just pretty much gave my overview of what I think, how the progression of women has happened up until this point. So when you think about, I'll be perfectly honest. I know you guys were like, "Oh, go check out Kevin Samuels. Go check out this one. Go check out that one." I have not watched his videos at length to say Kevin Samuels describes a modern woman as this, this, this. I can tell you bits and pieces, but ultimately, I think that the modern woman is pretty much just doing her own thing. She's paving her way, whatever that looks like for her. And it could be very traditional. It could be, a traditional, having traditional roles as women, as far as, let's say the 1950s. I'm a housewife, I'm with the kids, whatever. But then you have some women that are doing the complete opposite. They're going for the careers. Some are not going for families. Some are just extremely independent. Like women are earning their own bread. They're earning they're paving their own ways in life, making their own decisions for themselves and their bodies. And that looks different than what we're so used to in America when you compare it to centuries ago, when you compare it to decades ago. There was a time where some of the sexualized stuff that we see from the modern woman, okay, a lot of that stuff would have been like shocking to a certain degree, decades ago, because it was not the norm. It was, wasn't everybody's doing it or the majority doing it like that. So the modern woman, and is she problematic? What is problematic about the modern woman? All right, I'm waiting on some comments. Y'all quiet today. So while I wait, leave a comment down below. So when I think of a modern woman, I think of a woman that I think the modern woman, see, I don't want to do the generalizations, because I feel like even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you have a family, even in traditional roles, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a modern woman. I think it's more so a mindset. I think, what people are finding problematic about the modern woman is the fact that this modern woman, almost to the point, has standards, higher standards, greater expectations. They're doing, making waves with their education and everything else, but then they also have an expectation for the person that they're calling, that they're looking for. So the standards has been raised because they have raised their standards, in a sense. The older day when women stayed home with family. Irma says she likes the older days when women stayed home with family. It's a split, because I'm seeing women that are going out, making their way with their careers and stuff like that. And we can say they're the modern woman. But then there's also women that are also staying home with their kids and everything else, but they're also earning a living at home. And then you have the traditional woman, a woman that is home with the children, not necessarily bringing any income, but their husband is the traditional role of the provider. So Irma says that she prefers that the woman stays home with the family. I find that there's value in that, but there's also value in families earning more income. It just all really depends. And I guess that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I'm like, okay, I see all these videos about these modern women and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, there's so many generalizations. Like, you really have to just pave the way that you feel is best for you. Let's see. I can speak on myself. I came a long way. My mother always told me never depend on a man. I get you. A lot of women were told that never depend on a man. And I look at it like my husband and I, we're a team. So that's just it. That's it. That's all. We've always just operated as a team. So there are times where I depended, but really is it dependent? Like, I'm married. I'm not the other woman. I'm not, no. So what's mine is his, what's his is mine. Like, that's how I look at it. So I understand that mindset, from back in the day where the moms was like, you never depend on a man and always, all this other stuff. All of that can be true in a healthy sense. You should not depend on a man I think it's more important to not depend on a man to make you happy, not to depend on a man to help you try to figure out who you are. Like, these are things that you should be trying to figure out on your own. Not dependent on a man for provision and stuff like that. Like, that, to me personally, that's part of his role as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that's what I think. Man is a provider. Now, does that mean that he's supposed to provide everything? That's between you and him. If he provides, however, he takes, y'all have separate bank accounts, all of that, that's a whole nother life. But yes, I know that women have definitely been told, never depend on a man and everything. But see, that's also I don't know if that's a modern woman trait, but that's also a stance that, I think that is very modern. Um, women have a voice. So I can see where women exercising their voice, exercising their right can be problematic to someone who is used to women being traditional, so to speak, or not even traditional, but like really, 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 really back in, like if you have somebody that's like a total male chauvinist or something like that, I definitely can see that being problematic. Like, oh, you're not, you need to be quiet, that whole thing. Not gonna work. Okay, Irma says most women don't know how to cook at all. Well, that is that a modern woman? Do you think that that's a mark of a modern woman? One can argue that. One can argue that, and I'll say this: with the breakdown of the family, we know that within the past couple of generations, the breakdown of the American family has happened. You do have people that have the longevity in their marriage. So you still have grandma and grandpa, and then you have their kids remain married, and then their kids. I believe in those types of traditional families, cooking and all those traditional roles that Irma is talking about was passed on. And so, generally speaking, because again, this is all like generalizations, like, because at the end of the day, people say, okay, most modern women don't know how to cook. But what if you're a modern woman and you don't see the need to cook? Because now we're living in modern times. People, I mean, you can get food brought to you just by a phone call. So does a modern woman really need to know how to cook? Is that problematic? It's only problematic if she gets with someone that really wants someone to be able to cook. That's when it becomes a problem. Um, but yeah, so that's the thing. I may think it's important for me to know how to cook, but um I can't push that on someone else. It's just like some people believe, modern women, they what is it called? Housekeepers and maids and stuff like that. I've had them. I've had people come in, I've had housekeepers and everything come in and clean. It depends on what season I'm in. It depends on if I want to do it or not. Like, it just depends. I don't think there's anything wrong if someone has a cleaner come in and clean their house. I really don't. But some people may feel like, oh, that's a modern woman thing. I cleaned up my own house. Well, again, the generalizations, just because someone doesn't do something like you doesn't make them wrong. I just say get it done. As long as the house get clean, I really don't care. Hello, Bless. We're talking about this modern woman today. And So if you're just popping in as Blessed is, or if you're catching the replay, comment down below. Let me know what you think about it. We're just kind of exploring. I feel like this idea of a modern woman, there's a lot of things that people can nitpick and say, modern woman is this, modern woman is that. There's a lot of talk about it, but at the end of the day, it's all generalizations, because whether it's problematic or not just really depends on that person in their life and who they are around and what their expectations for life is, or whatever. To each her own, no judgments. Exactly. To each her own, no judgments over here. So then, Blessed, Irma, those of you that are in the bushes, those of you that are watching the replay, what is this thing that's going around, especially on YouTube, with these conversations about the modern woman? Like, why all of a sudden is this a conversation? That's what I want to know. Why all of a sudden are we breaking down this modern woman? We're breaking down her expectations for men. She wants a high earning man, or a high valued man. So it's a modern woman, high valued man. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Y'all let me know. And I know the conversation isn't new. I think it's just rephrased. But I don't think it's new. I think people have been dissecting women and their lives and their wants and needs and desires and all this other stuff for many, many years. I personally like what Bless Reborn said. To each her own, no judgments over here. Because like I said, if you talk to some older women, they'll be like, oh, so and so doesn't know how to cook, and so, oh, that's a shame. Why is that a shame if there's no need for her to cook? So let's say, um times have changed, so there is a modern woman. So I guess the next question would be, if you find yourself as a modern woman, so you broke all the traditional roles, you're not living to have a whole family, and you're not living to cook and clean or whatever. I don't think many women are just in that role nowadays, but there are some, don't get me wrong. But again, if that's what they want to do for and with their husband, with their spouse, that's their business. I've always been a stay-at-home mom for the most part until my kids got to a certain age, and I went out and taught or whatever. But I also as I was a stay-at-home mom, I ran my businesses, my daycare business, and brought in my own income. So I kind of played both sides. But that was what I wanted to do. That's what we wanted to do. That's what I felt was best. Especially after looking at daycare bills, I didn't see the point. Like, I'm not going to work just to pay daycare. But that was just me. I think in some way folks are jealous because they don't have the freedom to pick and choose their own life path, which is crazy because at the end of the day, they do have the freedom, but the truth of the matter is, maybe they made choices that their life is going down a different path and they don't like it. Because we all have a choice. We all have a choice. We all had a choice at 18, unless very few people, if you came at 18 out of the foster care system or whatever, yes, you had some things already against you. But generally speaking, we had decisions that we wanted to make. Some people decided that they were going to thug it out in the streets. Some people decided that they were going to go to college. Some people decided that they were going to start a family. Some people decided that they were going to go on a pole. Everybody decided their own path. But that's why our lives don't necessarily always mirror each other. But just because someone is modern, so to speak, they're not traditional, does that mean that they don't deserve the values of tradition? That's what I'm hearing from these videos. I feel like we're losing family like the old days. I didn't realize it until I came home. Yes, that I believe. And I don't know the statistics, but I believe that the divorce rate in America probably is pretty high. I need to look it up before I say this. But I'm gonna say it, and then as you guys are commenting, I'm gonna look it up. But I believe that the divorce rate is very high. I believe that um longevity in marriage, successful marriages, and success doesn't necessarily mean that you don't go through anything. No, but I mean people that are committed to staying together um is is probably lower than when we're talking about back in the day when families stuck together. And that's also part of the conversation about modern women, because people, I read comments before where somebody was like, well, the traditional woman didn't have anywhere to go, she had to stay, the husband, she was his property, that whole thing. That is very true. But I personally believe, eh, listen, I respect the value of single parenthood, um no children, grandma raising a kid, non-traditional families. I understand that happens, totally understand that happens. But I personally believe that there's such a value, from this is my personal belief, I think that there's such a value between having a two-parent home, stable home and everything. Not to say the traditional families that had the traditional roles and all of that was without dysfunction, because we know they were. Like, talk to your parents, talk to your parents' parents, um, talk to you. Um, there is some level of dysfunction in all marriages, and not in all marriages, but I'm talking about in the family. But I think there's such a value that is being broken down. So when you think about it, how many people do you know there? So great grandmothers, they're pretty much still married. Great grandmothers are still pretty much married to the great granddad, pretty much. But you are seeing we're great grandmothers, because that generation definitely believes until death do us part, for sure. So them for sure. But then the grandmothers, please, I I think that there's more grandmothers that are either single or on their second or third marriage than staying together. So that's for those of you that are my age, our parents. I think there's more modern grandmothers that have broke that traditional role. I'm not going to stay married, um or just to say that I'm married or whatever. Like so that's what I'm saying. There's more non-traditional grandmothers, single, gay, in a gay relationship, um, married two, three, four times or whatever. It don't matter. Um, just non-traditional. I think there's more of that than the traditional family. I think the traditional family, I'm not gonna say it's lost, but I'm not gonna say it's rare, but we're losing it. Now the question is, are we losing it just in our culture as Black people? Do you see your white counterparts? Me personally, I see white, Black, all everybody. The family is struggling to stay together in some instances. And then I have like on this hand, these people are struggling, and then on this hand, I have friends that are successfully married, fighting it, doing whatever they need to do to remain married, and all this other stuff. So let's see what y'all saying. Uh Butter Pecan says, "Hey everyone, hey, 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 good to see you again." Bless says, "So many women choose what is expected of them, not what they wanted or they didn't have the freedom to explore their options." I believe that. I believe that. And I think that's just the nature of who we are as women, generally speaking. Um, as nurturers, we're the ones that we have to fight to take care of ourselves, and not because no one else wants us to. It's just we we have the inclination to take care of everyone else. So yeah, but I also think there's so many external influences that are influencing women, of course, because that's the whole point of the conversation, talking about this modern woman. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it, unless we're talking about, okay, so like, some people may say, okay, the modern woman is like a gold digger, or all she worried about men is for money. I heard that before. All she wants is to make sure that the guy earns blah 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 blah. That's nothing new. Heavily influenced by peers, family, church. Yep. But it became crowns. See, COVID-19 had a lot to do with it too. So you think that a lot of the breaking down of the family, COVID-19 had to do with it? Well, I know that a lot of people were saying that once COVID hit and they had to quarantine with these people, it's like, oh, I really don't like you. I don't know you. I don't like you. And then you could say that the modern woman had time to really reflect on life and say, hey, is where I'm at in life really where I want to be? There are a lot of great grandmothers who put up with so much abuse, infidelity inside children. Many women nowadays believe they don't have to put up with that. They absolutely don't have to put up with it. And the grandmothers didn't have to put up with it. I think that, again, just talks about the progression of women. Those women, um, we could say the flip side. They put up with men that went to work, took care of things, bought homes, did what they needed to do. And the same thing can literally be said about women nowadays. Some women are putting up with abuse, infidelity, and everything else. I mean, look at some of the modern marriages that we are reading about in the newspapers. Like Steph Curry's parents are breaking up, and I was like, that is so weird. It's terrible, and that's their business. Don't get me wrong, but when I think about marriages that people have been married 30 something years, 38 years or whatever, I don't celebrate that. I don't think it's something where it should be sensationalized or anything. But it makes me think. It definitely makes me think, and it also makes me wonder. Again, that's their business, but it does make me wonder. Dang, I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened, because after 30 some odd years, what happened? I cry so much since I came home. Most of my family is gone. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I bet you that's hard. I know that's hard. Bless says lots of divorces happened during COVID. Yes, a lot of filing happened during COVID, and there was a lot of jokes. I remember seeing a joke about the side chicks being mad. So that was funny too. Like, hey, you home with your wife now, and the side chicks they not getting their rent paid and all this other stuff. So that was funny, but I don't know. I just wanted to have this conversation because there was a lot of buzz about, this modern woman. And I'm scrolling through YouTube and I'm like, dang, there go another one. And I'm telling you, if you scroll through it, these people have these ideas about this modern woman and how problematic she is. And in essence, the question can then can be raised like, okay, so what are you really saying? Because to me, the modern woman is everything and anything that she wants to be, to me. And that could be good or bad or indifferent. Like, because it doesn't mean so. Because here's the thing: you could have a person in a traditional role. She stays at home. The husband goes out to cook or whatever, but she's completely ineffective at that. So, what's the point in that? It's just really weird to me, the generalizations. I think that's what my bottom line is. What do you mean, modern woman? I also heard that like the modern woman is like masculine energy because women are just really handling their business. So is it really the modern woman's fault? Is it their fault? Let's have a commercial break. If you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Right now, do it. Right now, do it. So yeah, like what are they really saying? What are they really saying? Are they really saying, I just want you to go back to the days where you were in the corner, quiet, don't say nothing? What are they really saying? Because the modern woman, I do like single women are not playing that. I want this, 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 this. Some of it could be far-fetched. Some of it could be unattainable because what I'm seeing in the videos that I have reviewed and watched the little bit of, it's saying, hey, modern woman, you want all this stuff from a man, but you are XYZ, da 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 da. You can't cook, you can't clean, da 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 da. But again, that's a generalization. That may not be important to the person that you're seeking. It may not be important to that person. Or are you so modern and so stuck in your ways, you may meet somebody and he goes, you know what? I'm a traditional and I want a woman that this. Are you going to let that person go because you're like, that's not my thing? It's your option. It's absolutely your option. And that's the whole point of being a modern woman. I think that because I don't want to dive too much into this masculine energy and stuff like that, because then you got to go through the history of all of that. But I think what they're saying is what I just said, in the sense of women aren't playing. So there was a time, for an example, there was a time where dating meant she get caught and she took what she can get. But as a modern women, 20, 30 years, at least 20 to 30 years to now, have said, this is what my desires are. These are my deal breakers, and I'm not playing. And so is that what the problem is? Is that what's problematic? Leave a comment down below. Let me know while I look up this. The traditional families don't look the same. Families are not the same. Modern families are look at the show Modern Family. You have a gay couple. You have a couple that where he's way older than one. Then you have a traditional, regular couple, for lack of a better term. So even when you look at that television show, Modern Family, it really depicts how things have changed. Modern woman, women aren't just sitting around waiting on a man to but are you? Maybe some are, some aren't. It's again back to the generalizations. Like we uh we can't, the generalizations is what I have a problem with. I was about to say we can't have these generalizations. Like that's the beauty of being a modern person. That's the beauty of being a modern woman as well as being a modern man. We get to decide. Traditional women way back in the day and all of that, they didn't have the choice. They didn't have the choice to decide. But when you're looking at the videos and stuff like that, a lot of men, they're complaining about these modern women. They're complaining about you ladies that are single and you are having all these expectations of the men and all sorts of stuff. And they're like, okay, well, what are you bringing to the table? What is it that, because what they're saying is we want, the meals, this, that, and the other, whatever. And so, yeah, I just say personally, you have to know what you want. You have to know what you desire in your head. Like when I get married, I want this, 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 this. So when you meet a person, and they don't meet those expectations, or you should be able to express to them, this is my idea of marriage. This is my idea of being a woman. This is my idea of being a man. What do you think about that? And then that person has the opportunity to say, well, you know what? This is what I want. This is what I dream of and everything. But when we have these conversations about the modern woman and the high value man and all this other stuff, I think it just all boils down to money. I think it all boils down to what she brings to the table to earn this man that's going to take care of her. But yet the modern woman is like, well, I don't need you to take care of me. But then the man is like, but I want you to want me to take care of you. Like, it's just a weird cycle that I think the conversation really just should happen between you and who you're going to be with, period. That's what I got to say about it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this. There's so much conversation going around about the modern man, the modern woman. The woman is this. She's, she's all about the money. And, a man has to earn a certain amount and she has to, money and power. Absolutely. Money and power, Blessed Reborn said, he has to earn a certain amount. I earn a certain amount. So here's the thing. Is the problem on the woman if she has decided to go to school? She decided to go to law school. The modern woman decided to go to school. She's got her PhD, this, that, and the other, and all this other stuff. She has money. She has power. Is it her problem that now this man comes around the corner intimidated because she has this money and power? So now he feels like she doesn't need him or whatever. Is that her problem or is that his problem? Look at this. When you finally learn that a person's behavior has more to do with their own internal struggle than you learn grace. So if the modern man, or this man who meets a modern woman is turned off or feels a certain way about the fact that she is doing her own, owning her own. And I mean, women really are taking the reins. And I think a lot of, okay, you think it's both their problems. Okay, tell me how you think it's both their problems. Because when you said that, I was like, yep, I can see how it could be both their problems. Tell me how you think it can be both their problems. I know how I think it could be both their problems. I'll type it and let's see if we say that. I mean, you type it and I'll say it. So I think that it can be both their problems because as you have to learn whoever your mate is, like whoever you're with, you have to learn their triggers. Because we these generalizations, men are blah, 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 and men want this and men want that. The things that people think all men want, they don't all want. It's very individualized. There's some things my husband could care less about. But then there's some things that he absolutely cares about. But that comes with the conversation that we have with each other. There's some things that I could care less about. And then there's some things that I absolutely care about. So as a modern woman, I have to be able to navigate and say, okay, I know I have power. I know that I have money. I know that I have earning capabilities. But then there's a certain part of me, because of who we are and because of how we designed our marriage, still has to be submissive. I know it's that S word. She said it. So no matter what the money and the power is, there still should be, in my case, because I can't tell you about whatever. I can't tell you about who you with, but there still should be, I said submission, and that the numbers went woo. Y'all was like, and that could be a whole nother video. What is that and what does it look like? I'm gonna write that down, because I'm telling you, the views went down so fast just because I said submission. And if you know me, you know I'm not a doormat, but I know when to yield my power to his power. I know when to do that. But again, that takes a conversation between you two, that you two have, because what's important to me may not be important to you. Where I make a power move could be very detrimental to my marriage. But you may make that same power move and your dude is like, I'm fine with it. I'm okay. So that's why I think yes, it can be both of their problems, because money and power, and then he's turned off from it. So here you are as this single lady. You got your kids, this and that and the other, and you like, I want this, and you running it. Well, that's not but he's the perfect guy. You really, really like this guy, but he's turned off by that. What say you, modern woman? What you gonna do? I'll wait. Exactly. So Bless says, this is the types of conversation that need to happen before marriage. I truly believe that all of this needs to be laid out on the table: goals, expectations, lifestyles. And you know what? Even, and the truth of the matter is, you can have all the conversations in the world before marriage. At least it's a starting point. But so much changes after you move in, after you grow. Once you grow, like who I am at 20 is nowhere near the person that I am at 40. What I wanted at 20 didn't look like what I wanted at 25. But you're absolutely right. I agree. The conversation needs to happen. It's a good indicator. It's a good red flag revealer, where you're just like, I'm not so sure. But in that, she shouldn't have to diminish her light. And so again, that almost goes to what I said. Like I said, it's a whole separate conversation when you're talking about submission, because you say that and then it's like, whoa there. But that's a powerful word, because you should submit to one another. Yeah. Let me know what you think. If you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Right now, do it. Right now, do it. Right now. Right now. Exactly. Not diminish her light or her voice. Absolutely not. There's a difference in that. Like, that's not what submission means. That's not what should be happening. There is a time to be quiet, though. I'll admit that. There's a time, just be quiet. Her light is going to be her light, period. But there's times where you should be quiet. Love the commercial. Thank you. I got tired of saying it every video, and I was like, you know what? Let me just make me a cute little thing and move on about my business. But yeah, let me let y'all see it again, just in case, for the people catching the replay. If you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Right now, do it. Right now, do it. So yeah, I agree with you. That's a conversation that should happen before. There's a lot that needs to happen, before. And I hope people are having it. I hope people are really having these honest conversations. I'm not gonna lie to you. As the old married lady in the room, I don't know if you guys are really having the right conversations or having these conversations. I don't know. Leave a comment down below if you're single and dating and almost, or have dated recently or whatever. Like, are you having these conversations? Like, hey, I earn such and such. Do you have a problem with someone earning more money than you? Hey, I'm very opinionated. I'm not going to just sit by and not insert my opinion, blah, 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 blah. You may have the last say, but you're going to hear what I got to say. That's how we do. What's your idea on marriage? What type of marriage? What kind of family did you grow up in? Oh, that type of thing. Leave a comment down below. And I'm going to open up my protein snack while y'all are leaving the comments. Let me know if you're having those conversations. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all post everything else, but y'all don't post that. So I can't say that I've seen someone say, wow, I had a great conversation with him last night and we are on the same page. That was nice. Like, I ain't gonna lie. It's all about the money, the Birkin bag, the this, the that, and everything else. But then when it's come to the deep conversation, where are y'all? Where are you? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. And the truth of the matter is, even after you marry, these conversations, you got to still have them. You can have them all you want before marriage. You can have these conversations all you want before marriage. But even after you get married, you still got to have the conversation. For sure. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you also have been seeing a lot of the videos about the modern woman, the problem with her, the problematic. My bottom line is a lot of this is generalization. Generally speaking, we could say women have evolved for sure. Not even generally speaking, just as a society, women have definitely evolved. But this is very individualized, this conversation that we're having, because again, we're all different. All guys are not the same, as much as we like to put them all in the same box. Like, when I see some of those Facebook memes and they're talking about a real man this or a man this and all men are not the same. All men don't want the same thing. All men aren't into the same thing. They're not all the same. Just says, it was a problem when I would give my opinion. Hold on. Thank you. It was a problem when I would give my opinion because it wasn't what he wanted to hear. Then that's an immature person. He's not ready to be married. He's not ready for a relationship, because being in a relationship, you have to relate. And a mature conversationalist, someone that's mature enough to have a conversation. Yeah, there's some things that I may not want to hear, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be problematic because he said XYZ. So what do? Do you pretend that wasn't a problem? You stay with that person or whatever? Listen, you should be able to give your opinion. You should be able to have a conversation. You should be able to offer, and not just your opinion, let's take it a step further. It's what you want. We as women have to be able to own whatever it is that you want, good, bad, or indifferent. Personally, I didn't know that I had a voice. The reality, I was taught to be grateful that a man is interested. Hold on tight, because you might not have another man to be as interested. Wow. And you know what? That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. And it's not uncommon, especially for women that have more than one child. Usually one child, most time people won't talk bad about you or whatever like that. Like, oh my goodness, you have a kid or whatever. But women that have more than one kids, that's part of an abusive tactic. Whereas I've heard where a man will be like, don't want nobody wants you with all these kids. Nobody wants you, whatever. And so that's that power, that's that control. So, gosh, I hope that you know now that that's not true. I hope that if there's anyone watching on the replay, there's somebody for everyone. And if someone loves you, They don't care how many kids you have. They don't care your size. Listen, they don't care about any of that stuff if they really want you and if they're really interested. But I would rather live and be with someone that wants to be with me and knows my value than me being afraid to let go and God darn. They're slamming the doors. Um, so I'm like, what? um be okay with it versus being in this relationship, and you're afraid. Oh, that's very common for a lot of people. And then a lot of times women will put these things in their own head. I have to stay with this person because um I'm just naming stuff. He found me as a stripper, or I don't have family. I don't have no one to go home to. I don't have this. I have all these children. I have this children with a special need, or whatever. So, and that's stuff that someone may have never said to them, but these are things. That's the things that they're insecure about. So because they're insecure about it, that's their self-talk. So you got to be careful about that as well. Communication was the number one issue. Well, with that being said, it's a major issue. Um, as you know, that's a major issue because you got to be able to communicate, and you got to be able to be free enough and comfortable enough to say whatever it is that you want to say. Because as you know, if you can't say what you want to say, then you have this internal struggle, and then you start treating each other a certain way because you got this internal struggle. It wasn't until I became older that I realized that I had the power to pick and choose whatever life that suited me, etc. If the guy didn't agree, then he is free to move on, and I'm okay with it. Wonderful, blessed, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This mindset unfortunately came from my mom. So rest in peace. So now I have to unlearn a lot of the things she taught me. Absolutely, and that happens quite often. You got to kind of reflect. Okay, this is what I grew up with. This is the tradition. Please don't slam the door. This is what my family was like. This is what I learned. This is what I think is toxic. This is what I obviously did not work for them. This is what did work. This is what's positive. And then you create your own set of values. I mean, family values have value. They're good as a foundation. But I believe that when you take your family values, mix it up with your thoughts, your opinions, your spouse, your this, that, and the other, and you say, this is going to be our tradition. This is going to be what I want as a woman. This is what, because especially prior to recent times, a lot of stuff just wasn't dealt with. So a lot of people had depression, a lot of people had trauma, a lot of people had untreated mental illnesses and everything else that manifested in their parenting, that manifested in their friendships, that manifested in their relationships. And then here you are as their child being parented and all this other stuff by Bitter Betty. Excuse me if anybody's mom is named Betty. I just said that name out the blue. But Bitter Betty parenting you, and then you as a woman, you want a marriage, you want to find someone, but Bitter Betty raised you. You got to unlearn all that Bitter Betty said. So and even it's just seeing things positive. There's some people that are raised to see men as, they're all dogs, they're this, they're that, and they're only good for money. You got to unlearn that because that's not true. Like, it's not true. We can't say all are whatever. Just like I don't want anybody to be like all women are whatever. Don't want that. So yeah, modern woman. I don't think it's anything wrong with any path that people choose if that's what they want to choose. It becomes a problem when if you chose a path that your spouse is not in agreement with, or the person that you're looking to date is not in agreement with it. So for an example, you're a modern woman and you are the type where you're like, nope, I'm going to work. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to explore the world. I'm hardly ever going to be home. I want to travel. I want to do peace missions. I'm going to do anything. And my partner needs to be okay with that. Well, here's the thing. If you are then looking for a mate on uh, traditionalrelationships.com, that's your problem right there. Because someone that is traditional wants the wife at least in the same country as him, and or whatever, they're not going to really want to be hooked up or married or dating or interested in someone that is interested in not the values don't line up. So that could be it also. Like, are you truly set in whatever your ways are? Like, what you want. There's nothing wrong with that. But then do you get with someone and go, well, maybe they'll change, or something will happen and I'll change. Typically we don't think that though. Nah, I'm not gonna say the last part. They'll come around. They'll want me to whatever. It's the same thing. A lot of modern women don't want kids. That's nothing new. So, that's what's weird to me, where we're like, oh, modern women this, modern women that. Like, I know women from years ago, they do not want children and they did not have any children. That's their business. But again, if you are meeting people and this is what they want family or whatever, but you're continuing, you're trying to, well, maybe they'll change or whatever. Not good. That's where the conflict happens, I think. That's where the frustrations happen, I think. And that's where you have the men where they're like, oh, so-and-so is problematic. The truth is they're not problematic. It's the fact that you're trying to date someone that doesn't line up with your core values. That's what's problematic. Took me an hour to get to that point. Took me an hour to get to that point for sure. So if you're catching the replay, make sure you leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this modern woman take and all this other stuff. Like, I've said it before prior to you watching. If you're watching the replay, then you heard me say it. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of it, whatever people's path is. People had opinions about me and my life and what we chose to do. That was me and my husband's business. If I had a job or if I worked or if I didn't work. Okay, here we go. So I was buffering a bit. I don't know what that is. Bless says, great point. And she also says you can't change folks. No, you cannot. I think it's more important to really stay true. If you really are Miss Single Go-Getter, I want somebody who's an athlete, uh uh, high earning and all this other stuff, go right ahead. But when you find these guys and they say whatever, or their values don't line up with yours or whatever, to me, that's what's more the debate. That's more the conversation. When I have these standards and I meet someone and we don't see eye to eye, honestly, we don't. But because of the attraction that we have for each other, we're just going to see if it works out. But truthfully, he believes women should be this way. I know he thinks that, but I'm going to try to change his mind. She believes men should be this way, and I am not that at all. But I'm going to change her mind. That is what the problem is. That is what the problem is. It's not the modern woman. It's not the man or anything. It's the fact that the communication is probably not there. And are we trying to change each other to fit the values that we have? Aisha Brown says, hello. Hi. Hello. So y'all, that's what I think. That's what's all. Let's play this commercial real quick. If you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell right now. Do it. Yes. So it's been a great conversation. That's my take on it. That's my take. If you have any ending comments, make sure you drop them below within the next couple of seconds, so we can close out this video. That's pretty much my take. I think no video. We can talk all night about you know, modern women don't cook, modern women don't clean, modern women don't. I don't care. All I care about is what happens in this house. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about what my neighbors across the street do. Like, oh my gosh, she works this and this and that. Just like I don't want nobody in my house. Like I said, I was saying before I froze, there were people that had a problem with me being home and my husband, you know, being in the military. Mind your business. That's none of your business. Um, because unless I ask you to come and be at home with me, you have nothing to say. So I can have an opinion like, wow, I would think personally knowing how to cook is a value, but ultimately, do I really care if someone can't cook in their marriage? That's their business. That is literally their business. Um, you know, like I said, people have a problem with some people having housekeepers and stuff like that. I don't have one now, but I've had. Shoot, will we listen? I might have one soon, but it didn't take away from me being my value as a wife or a woman. And I think that's what the problem with the conversation is. If you don't do this, you're low value woman. The only person to me that can really rate your value is God and yourself. Because here's the thing: if let's say if I have a mindset and I think as a woman should be a woman should clean, cook, stay home, whatever it is that I think a woman should do. If I'm not doing that, then of course in my head I'm going to say, "Oh my goodness, I don't have value." But I shouldn't do that. You just strive for whatever it is, whatever goals that you want to have. But it's not fair to generalize all women and say, you know what, a high value woman, a modern woman is problematic. No, she's only problematic. She's only problematic to the person who she's either dating, interested in, or is married to if something doesn't line up. Period. Or lie and say they're cool with the modern woman's philosophy and expect her to change as time rolls in. This was my marriage, and that's my whole point. That's what's more important. It's not really about who are we becoming, who are women evolving in, because the truth of the matter is we're not like a whole. All women aren't like on the phone with each other and like, okay, so what we doing this week? What are we for this week? Oh, so we not for that this week? Okay, fine. And then next week, even though it could be a majority, it could be a large amount of people, it could be a whole huge wave for breastfeeding. You know, breastfeeding comes in, breastfeeding is in, but it always wasn't in. It wasn't always, it was always the recommended thing to do. It was always the healthy thing to do, but it wasn't always the trend. I feel like everybody is trending like that, you know, as far as breastfeeding is concerned. But just because I didn't breastfeed, that doesn't make me a less of a modern woman or more of a traditional woman or less of a, you know, less valued or whatever. You know, we're all now on the phone with each other saying, okay, this is our next move. You know, all women, this is what we're going to be about, whatever. Just like we could say, I mean, we've had conversations about the BBLs and all this stuff. We're not all the same. We're not all interested in the same thing. So in the same way, for men to be having conversations about how problematic a modern woman is, it's really she's problematic, or specific things are problematic because of what you feel like a woman should be and do. And here's the truth of the matter is, whether a man feels like a woman should be traditional, way back in the 1950s, don't work at all, don't do nothing, don't even have her own business at home, whatever, that's his business. We could say it's outdated. We could say it's barbaric. We could say it's demeaning to women and all of that. But he may meet somebody that comes along and may love all of it and is willing to do all of it. That's their business. Same thing with, you know, like I said, with my marriage or anybody else's relationships. It just becomes problematic when we have these general conversations like, oh, the modern woman this, the modern woman that. Well, what is that? Who is she? Bless says, and I expected him to be what he initially presented to me instead of reading the red flags. You know, uh, when I knew I was going to have this conversation, I asked my husband about red flags, and he said, you know, truthfully, we all come with red flags. And I was like, yeah. And then I was thinking, and I was like, well, what does he mean? Like, we all don't come with red flags. And I just sat and listened. He was like, yeah, we all have red flags. And I was like, Then I thought about it again. He said, babe, we all have red flags. And then I thought about it. I was like, we do. We all have red flags, but they're all red flag. All red flags aren't deal breakers. The problem is ignoring deal breakers. So, as the landscaper is starting back up, when we think about red flags, when I think about stop signs, you ever had a stop sign where it shouldn't be? Like it's so abrupt, it interrupts the flow of traffic. It's ridiculous. But then there's stop signs that are perfectly placed. I think about it. That's what comes to mind right now when I think about what he was saying. Like, yeah, we all have red flags. So, when you're saying, you expected him to be something and you ignored the red flags or whatever, when we're talking about what we're talking about now with the modern woman and all of that, we could literally be like, okay, he said that he wanted a wife, that she has to work. He wants her out. Like literally, he prefers somebody that travels. He doesn't want any kids, all this other stuff. Those should be deal breaker stop signs to me, because these are things that you're taking a huge chance on banking that this person will change their mind. But then if you go, if the guy goes, I expect my wife to only travel within the United States because I'm afraid of flying. And so I'm only going to travel in the United States and I'm never going to get on a plane. Well, that's a red flag. That's a red stop sign, but that's not a deal breaker stop sign. Like you can be like, okay, well, hell, I'm a fly, because him not flying don't mean that you can't fly. So there's a difference between reading the red flags and responding to the stop signs that are dangerous and interrupt the flow versus, well, let's talk about this. Okay, so you're not going to fly and you want to, but what you're not saying is that you don't mind if I go and fly and whatever. Oh no, you can go. But then we cross that red flag off. The problem is we sometimes in having those conversations, it's the deal breakers. We put the deal breakers in the same category as the other red flags. Not a good idea. To me, red flags are deal breakers. Not all of them. Red flags are targets. So what I meant. I know, I understand what you're saying. Some red flags are there to pause for conversation. Some red flags are danger, exit, stage left, absolute deal breaker. So like I said, if you have someone who is hell-bent against flying, that's going to give you a tingle if you like to travel. If you are a traveler, that's a red flag. That's like a ding, ding, ding. But is that a deal breaker? I don't think that's a deal breaker. What that is ding, ding, ding. Have a conversation, have a conversation, have a conversation. Okay, so you just said that you're not going to go on an airplane, but that doesn't mean that you think that you're going to have attitude when I want to go fly on an airplane or when I want to go to the Caribbean or whatever. Now, if that person 5 years down the road, it's time to go to Caribbean, you're going to the Caribbean, he got attitude, you hold him to what he said. Listen, we had this conversation before we were married, and you said that you didn't want to fly, but you also said you didn't have a problem with me flying. That's it. So that's what I think. I think some red flags are absolutely deal breakers, run out the door, personally. And they won't be the same for each other. They won't be the same for all of us. The danger ones, I think we all can recognize them. But some of us will ignore them, some of us won't. So that's that part. So anyway, so I'm going to wait for you to comment on that last part. We might have a lag here. Don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I think red flags are all concerning. All can be toxic. Because even when you think about it, if that person's red flag is the fact that he's not going to get on a plane, where did that come from? Why are you so afraid of flying? Or whatever. But that's also something that won't stop me from traveling. Like, I'm sorry to hear it for you, but I'm still going to go. Because I'm the type, I don't mind traveling by myself. Now, 5 years down the road, like I said, he want to all of a sudden have a problem with it. That's something he gonna have to deal with, because I'm going to remind you that we had this conversation before we were married. And things change, people change, ideas change. It could be the complete opposite. 5 years down the road, it's time to get on the plane. He's mature, he's secure, he's whatever. He's gonna take Benadryl or whatever else he need to take, but he gonna get on that plane. So it goes both ways. But it still was something that warranted a conversation. And to me, if it's something that warrants an extra conversation, that's a red flag. Because red flag, caution, we need to talk. We need to talk about this. So yeah. All right, my friends. It's been real. It's been a really good conversation. I think on Thursday, we may continue this conversation, but also go into talking about this man. And should because I think that bringing up the toxic. Let me see. I don't categorize yield signs as red flag. Yield means to slow down and think about it, and it's up for discussion. And again, we're two different people. So yield may to you, yield is what do you say, slow down and think about it, and let's up for discussion. And I don't even, at the moment, at the top of my head, I don't even think what I would categorize a yield sign in as a relationship, because I look at it a little bit differently. A red flag is going to be, so if it's a stop sign, it's going to be, we have to stop and talk. We need to stop and talk. And even if stopping and talking results in leaving or separating or not being together, as I'm talking it out, I would look at me personally, I would look at a yield. And that's what's the beauty of it all. We're all different. We're all going to see things differently. We're all going to. So that's why it's important. Like, we're not even in a relationship as far as a loving relationship like that. You know what I mean? Dating relationship. So you see it one way, I see it completely different. And that's how marriage is. I literally can go to my husband and say, hey, babe, what do you think? He might say, you know what? He may think how you think. He may say, you know what? A red flag is a flag. Why are we talking about stop signs? Why are we talking about street signs? To me, yield is either, if I'm going to yield in a relationship, I'm going to keep the relationship going, but I got my eye on something. I'm going to keep going, but I got my eye on something. I may not talk about it in the yield phase. I just need to see something real quick. That's me. And then a green light is going to go. But that's light. So I'm not even going to get on that. But that's how, but I can see how you categorize what you categorize, but that's how life and communication is. Like, if we tell someone, I'm thinking about school, and when you're teaching kids and you say, you know what, draw me a picture of yourself. Draw me a picture of a cat. Draw me a picture of a bird. I'm telling you, you're going to get 5 different representations of what that bird looks like. And the bird could literally, you could have an example of the bird right there. Some little kid's going to pull out a purple crayon, and the darn bird is black. Somebody else going to have the bird in a flying position, and the bird is standing still. So it's the same thing with relationships. It's the same thing with all relationships, really. But this is a perfect example. Like you said, you don't categorize the yield signs as red flags. So to you, yielding is one thing. Red flags is just what it is. And I get that. But that's a very, very good point that happened live to demonstrate how communication is so, so important, because we all are going to see things differently. It's all good. Yeah. Absolutely, girl. You already know. It's always good. It's always, I love your commentary. I love, interacting. I love your commentary. I'm never offended by anything that any of you guys say, whether you absolutely disagree with everything that I'm saying. As long, because that's what life and friends do. Like, you talk, you have a conversation. We're not going to all agree. Like, I can't grow if I'm around a bunch of people that are just like me. I can't grow if I'm around a bunch of people that handle their money the way I handle my money. How am I going to learn? It's the same thing. So I agree. It's all good, and I understand. So y'all, Thursday, we're going to continue this conversation because I think it's important. I think that more people want to have more to say about this subject, because I hear you guys when we are talking about other things in relationships and stuff like that. I have a lot of single women on my channel. Those of us that are married, we have a different perspective because we really, it don't matter what people think. If we're high value, modern, not modern, whatever, we're playing the role that we believe is best for us, and that's all you can do. And honest communication, open communication is absolutely what is the most important thing. That's the whole point. We saw it play out here with Blessed and I. Like, she believes, you know, the stop signs represent certain things, the yield signs represent certain things. You could be with someone that thinks just like how she thinks, and I think the polar opposite. The assumption that we all think the same thing is really problematic when you're trying to be in relationships, meet people, and see if you're going to be compatible, or see if this is something that you want to take to the next level. Like, for an example, you may be really, really not serial dating, but you're really dating to find that person. You may meet someone that's like, I'm good. Like, I'm not really looking right now. But they treat you exclusively. They dating you exclusively, but in the back of their head or in their convictions, they're really not ready to settle down. But if you never talk about it, you're like, but we only date each other, and you took me out, and da 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 da. But and to him, he's like, well, that's just how I treat women because I'm a nice guy. Well, why don't you marry me? Because I don't want to be married. You see what I mean? That would be problematic and slightly confusing to someone who already assumed because he's treating me like XYZ, it must mean he wants to get married. Not necessarily so. So, I thought she said something else. So with that being said, if you're liking my channel, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell right now. Do it. Yes, right now, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We'll be back on Thursday, unless I decide to go somewhere, because that's in the works, thinking about it. But if not, I will definitely be here on Thursday. You will see it. So make sure you click the notification bell so that you can get notified, because I want to continue this conversation, but I want to add the aspect of the men and what men think, and being single, and what you found, and all this other stuff. Because the modern woman conversation is one thing, but then the fact that, oh, is she problematic? Again, problematic to who? I don't know. So as always, I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm going to leave you with this. When you finally learn that a person's behavior has more to do with their own internal struggle than you learn grace. And not only do you learn grace, you learn to not take stuff so personal. A lot of times people internalize so much that how they perceive people are treating them and all this other stuff. When you realize a lot of that has nothing to do with you. It may have something to do with what they're dealing with internally. It may have something to do with what they're experiencing at work or whatever. When you realize that it's 9 times out of 10 have nothing to do with you, apply grace and move on. And that's all I'm saying. I should bring him on because he has a take on that, and y'all may not like it. You may not like it because I'm telling you, the guys that I'm talking to who are really good guys. Okay, so he has somebody now, but before he got to the point where he has somebody now, the stories that he would tell me, I'm like, these women don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. So we'll talk about it on Thursday. And yes, I might bring him on. Let's see. I don't know if he works, but we'll find out. But I'm definitely going to continue this conversation. This is a really good conversation, but I want to add the aspect of the men, and we'll get that going. So with that being said, be kind to one another. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.